All right, I have been given the green light. We are ready to go for Resident Evil 4 Remake. No major glitches, new game plus, any percent, ran by AudioIgnis. Ignis, the time is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much. My name is AudioIgnis, and I'm going to be speedrunning Resident Evil 4 Remake, New Game Plus, no major glitches, and commentating with me is Alex Meister.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is
はい
Alex, and I'm
どう
also
も
a
戻
Resident
り
Evil
ました。
speedrunner,
司会引き続
mainly
き
in
抱負
Resident
が
Evil
務めさせ
Village,
ていた
and
だき
also
ます。
Resident Evil 5 and
と
co-op together with AudioIgnis.
バイオハザード
And I'm going to be
RE4
loading up a pre-saved file for the
ノ
New
ー
Game
メジャ
Plus
ー、ノーメ
playthrough.
ジャーグリッジ
And
ニ
we're
ュ
going to
ー
be
ゲー
starting
ム
on
プラス
assisted
アシステント
difficulty, the easiest
との
difficulty
こ
in
と
the
でご
game.
ざい
That'll
ま
be
す。
starting in after this loading screen. All right, in 3, 2, 1.
1グッドラックでございます。
And I realized that
なんかトナカイの角つけとるけど
here at the start, but so starting off the game, we're starting with Leon. He is on his way to search for Ashley. She is the president's
ちな
daughter,
みに
and she has been found
私
missing. I'm actually going to
バイオハザードシリーズ1回も触ったことございませんのでご了
moment
承
on
くだ
the
さ
run.
い。
As you can see, he currently has his deer antlers on as I was practicing before the run. I'm going to be switching over to the cat ears. Now these aren't just for fun aesthetic, these actually incorporate some changes into the game, and the antlers will be used for later. But for now I'm going to be switching over into the cat ears because those are actually going to give him infinite ammo, which we'll be utilizing for a majority of the game. And right down here, we're going to run into the first enemy in the game. Leon went to search for 2 of the other police officers, and found one of them missing. There we go, I should be able to swap now.
おっと
And as with most of these enemies, we're just going to take care of them very, very quickly. With either the shotgun or the rocket launcher. We have the infinite rocket launcher for the inventory, and as I said, most of this inventory is actually pre-made, set up beforehand. So we have the infinite rocket launcher that we've purchased before this game. This is, I'd say, the 15th save file on it. We have the shotgun, a handgun, which is a 3-burst handgun, one of the fastest ones to use in the game, and then multiple flash grenades that are going to be utilized throughout the run, as well as a first aid spray, and I believe only 1 grenade. And all of this depends really on the runner, on what they like to use for the run. That is just my personal setup for it. Here we're just running past the majority of the enemies. We want to utilize as much as we can, just being able to run past them whenever we have the opportunity to, rather than shooting them. And I'm going to take advantage of the quick save action here that the game has. So it has a quick save. I'm going to reset so that way the enemies move to specific positions. And it just makes it so that I can have a more consistent shot line up. And up ahead here, the bell tower is going to... I'm going to ring the bell. If I can get this line up right. There we go.
全部切ったのいけんか。だいぶ
So
強い。
what that does basically for the normal playthrough of the game, you have to wait for that bell tower to go off to get all of the enemies to stop fighting. We're just doing it ahead of time, ringing the bell tower, so that way we can skip through all of that entire fight. And now Leon has a hunch or a clue that Ashley is going to be at the lake, so we're going to make our way down to the lake to try to locate her. And one setting I'm going to change now is the aim assist. For some reason, the aim assist for assisted category is always on, so we turn that off around here. So that way we do not aim at this person's head, but instead inside of the door to break the lock that otherwise it would take us a little while to get around to. We'd have to maneuver around all of this building here to get inside, so instead we're just gonna skip ahead, breaking the lock with the rocket. And another aspect of the inventory that we are taking advantage of is some of the charms that you can unlock in the game. So I have 3 that I am using on the briefcase, And the most important one, the primary one that we're taking advantage of, is the Striker Charm. It increases the run speed by 8% for Leon, although it does decrease his speed slightly whenever he is aggroed. So that's why we're going to be taking advantage of killing enemies at certain times. And as soon as we get past this guy, we're going to be killing some enemies specifically, just so that way we can get that speed up boost again.
怖い怖い。ケラン。ニュー
And
ゲーム
also
プラス
speaking
なんで
of
武器の引
charms,
き
we
継ぎ
also
はしてるん
have
でしょう
a
ね。
charm that is named Emblem, and it will give us, or Leon in this case, 20% extra melee crit chance. So that's is nice. Doing a little bit more
躊躇が
damage.
ないな。
Somehow she survived. Okay. But right there, you can see that he just sped up just a little bit. Usually it takes a little bit longer into this tunnel here for him to speed up if we don't get rid of that right away. And now here through this area, there's too many enemies to kill, so we're going to bypass all of them instead. Doing our best to avoid getting hit.
うん。
And up here, we're going to be utilizing a small trick. Basically, in only 2 parts of the run, whenever Leon interacts with a sort of trapdoor in the floor, we're just going to be skipping the animation that he would use to climb down into the trapdoor by swinging our knife. Just like that.
ああ。
And now we have run into Luis. I think, Alex, you have some more information on the situation between them happening there, right?
Yes, so at the end this you have seen, or as Ignis has mentioned, Luis Serra is introduced, and he is an umbrella biologist who have found the genetic mutations which the Plaga parasite can achieve. And Lewis understood the consequences of his work under Sadler, who is like the main boss of this whole facility, and also the arch enemy who is responsible for all the parasites here, and he is part of the Los Illuminados. This is basically a cult, but more on that later. And
よう喋るな。
an organization for which Wesker is working, and he agreed also to steal them as species of the Plaga parasite. And Sadler found out about it and detained basically Lewis. And later on, as we will see, Ada Wong will be also introduced into this game, and she has been sent to get the parasite. And also a fun fact, Lewis has also worked on the Nemesis Alpha, which is also partially, which means that he is also partially responsible for the Nemesis enemy from Resident Evil 3.
And now throughout all of that, it was basically just running around the enemies. We did want to avoid picking up the extra knife there because we actually have a knife that we're going to be utilizing later called the Fighting Knife. It does the most damage in the game, which is why we want to use that knife over the other ones available. Which we'll be using to fight Krauser a little bit later. Now I'm going to do another reset, in particular just to have the enemies in position so that hopefully they're a little bit more predictable than they otherwise would be. And through here, sort of TNT alley, we're just trying to avoid getting hit by TNT as much as possible. Whoops. And I'm hoping that this guy will drop down perfect.
落ちてった。
So that we can pick up the emblems so we can get through the door over by the merchant. It's sort of random in which enemies are going to appear where in here. Sometimes it's easy enough to get past all of them, sometimes they just all get a little bit too close, so I'd rather take it a bit safer and try to just jump or like kill any enemies that may get in the way, so that way we don't get hit and slow down too much.
Nice, okay. That went really well.
I was really nervous that last TNT was gonna hit, but it looks like it went past me.
Yeah, same.
And up here, we're going to be reaching the first sort of puzzle on the door. For the assisted category, the puzzles are always the exact same, so it's easy enough to memorize them. And simple as that, we're going to open up the door. On the other side here, there's going to be
なん
three
やその
enemies.
ク
I'm
ラン
just
ク
going to
は。
throw a quick flash grenade at them to stun them, to get
でも
them
ってなん
out of the
か
way.
そういう作りやと折れそうで怖いわ。
And hopefully that hits all three of them. Sometimes it tends to
Stun
miss
grenade.
the last one here, so that's fine. And now running up ahead, we're going to run into the first sort of mini-boss of the game, one of the chainsaw guys. And rather than fighting him at all, because he really doesn't pose a problem, he just likes to stand up here and show off his chainsaw before we run past him, so that he can run into that bomb instead of us running into it. Being very careful to avoid these traps as much as possible. And running into here, we're going to pick up the next puzzle pieces. So first this lock, which is a random order, although the code for it is always the exact same, which is giving us this marble to open the door upstairs. And this is where Leon, I believe, runs into Mendez. I think you have some more information on that, Alex?
Mhm. Right, so about Mendes, who is the chief of this village, so basically the head of the village. And he is also infected by this Las Plaga parasite, which gave him superhuman strength and durability and so on and so forth. And he looks like a giant, to be honest.
Yeah.
But before he was infected, he was actually a very good person. And he was a mentor, a teacher for many of the people, and opened the village to the outside world by opening the ironworks, which we will be visiting later. And Mendes knew Lewis from a very young age, and Mendes is also responsible for containing the quote-unquote madness that struck upon Lewis' grandfather after a wolf attack. And this wolf was basically infected with this parasite, and it bit Lewis' grandfather, and he got like the first infection, and he took care of it.
おい。
And in the cutscene that we have also skipped, I think I mentioned it, but Leon got also infected by this parasite by Mendes.
And now I'm just going to be spamming between the weapons there so that Leon doesn't get, hopefully, stunned by that, which worked out, and heading out past the rest of these enemies except for this guy right there. He tends to grab you, so it's a little bit easier just to kill him. And now through here, so we're going to be starting to head up to the church. This is where Ashley is being held. Unfortunately, just like almost everything in Resident Evil games, it is locked, so we have to go and find the key, which is down at the lake. After we pass through this graveyard.
A church. I made it.
There we go, we just get the update on where to go and get the key. And this is the second time that we'll be using the trick to just fall down here just a little bit faster rather than having to go through the entire animation. Now again, a lot of the start here for this is running past enemies, so this area as well, these enemies are always extremely predictable in where they're going to be. We're just gonna hug the wall so that way we trigger them as late as possible and hopefully don't get hit by that guy there. Perfect. These enemies seem to be pretty chill, which is pretty nice RNG. And then I'm going to jump down here in this corner, specifically so that two enemies don't spawn in the backpack here. Otherwise, if you jump down anywhere else, they do tend to spawn. And just to utilize the charm as well, I'm going to take out these two dogs up here, also so that they don't end up actually hitting me. There we go. Now, heading into the next area, it's a little bit nicer than the TNT alley. There are a lot of enemies in it, but luckily nothing too difficult to maneuver around, and we are going to be keeping them out of the way quite often as well by resetting checkpoint.
And as you guys probably have seen, Ignis is spamming right click whenever she lands. This doesn't save a lot of time, like at most 0.1 seconds or something, but over the whole run it accumulates, and then after this whole run she will actually save a lot of time with this trick.
Yes, I think that's
こんな
how
こんな落とし穴が
several Resident Evil games go. It's really small things that add up to a lot of time save in the end. Alright, so right back in here is where we're going to pick up the gasoline. And as soon as we have that, we can reset so that all of the enemies are not blocking us at the door back there. It is possible to get through without resetting the checkpoint, but I just think for consistency's sake, it's a little bit easier to make sure that
リ
they're
ロード
set
も
back in their normal
リ
spots.
ロードで敵位
And
置
I'm
とか
gonna
の
try
初
to get
期
the
化を
line
し
up
て
here so that we
る
can skip
そう
another
この
set
程
of
度なら
jump down
大丈夫なんですね
animations. Usually we'd have to jump down twice here, but if I can get the lineup correct, just like that, then we can just skip it all together.
Very nice.
Perfect. These enemies are being very, very friendly. And we're gonna skip another jump animation right there so that Leon can jump down a little bit quicker rather than him taking his time. And once more right over here, as long as we line ourselves up right on the side, he'll just fall down instead of having to take his time going down.
Clean.
Yeah. And this should bring us to the first big boss of the game, Del Lago. And Alex, if you'll explain some more about Del Lago.
Of course. So, first main boss of the game.
ず
First
っ
of
と
all,
耳つけ
Ignis
てん
is
のか
swapping
そうやって
the
よう見た
FPS
ら
from 120 to 60, so that the hitboxes are a little bit smaller, but the enemies are also a little bit slower too. And then, as you see the water waves there, they are also smaller, so it is overall a little bit easier to deal with the Lago. And
Yeah.
ideally, Ignis has to hit 8 harpoons
Yeah.
on the body, and then in just a moment, 1 in the mouth.
おー
And then 4 more harpoons, and this would one cycle the Lago. If it doesn't work out, the HP regenerates a little bit.
Nice.
And nice, very nice. So this was the perfect case, a one cycle. Yeah, very good.
That went a lot better than I expected. So now that Leon has been attacked, we're going to switch back to 120 frames. Just that way he is moving a lot faster once again. And we'll be running into... do you recall what the enemy's name is up here?
Guadana.
Thank you. So this is the first one that we're introduced to of them, and they're easily taken out with just a simple flash grenade, so we're going to take them out with that. There is one more enemy behind them. I'm going to use the Magnum to take him out since he's just a little bit further away instead of the shotgun. So we can utilize the charm speed up as quickly as possible. But usually those enemies are a little bit harder to take out without a flash grenade. They are just instant with a flash grenade
What is
instead.
this place?
And this is where the key is located. Now, we can't take the key just yet. We have to go and get 2 statues first before we can take the key to go and get Ashley out of the church. And the first statue head is across the lake. It's not surrounded with any enemies or anything. It's very simple to go and get it. It just has a puzzle set up for it. Over here as well is where you can pick up guns. There's a golden egg that you can find, and also a fish that is tied to one of the achievements. But we're just ignoring all of it for our run. In New Game runs, I know that they tend to utilize some of these things, but for New Game Plus, we already have everything set up for ourselves. So it's easy enough just to take care of it and head straight over to here.
Oh.
And this puzzle is always the same. Usually you'd have to look around this entire area to figure out what it is, but we've just got it memorized. And just like that, we've got the first head.
ね、石仮面み
Now
たい
heading
な
into the second area. This area, for me at least, is always very RNG dependent. These enemies always behave very, very differently, and we just are gonna hope that none of them will hit us here. After the very nice
I think
peaceful
they're-
drive. Go ahead.
I think there's time for a quick announcement.
That sounds like a job for me. And we have 2 donations for you, both from Anonymous. First one being $25 with no comment, but thank you so much for that. And the second one, who was clearly not happy with the upcoming bid war being a tie, so they have put $1 towards the Vivian side of the bid war. And now is a phenomenal time to donate, as you do get a 2-for-1 if you choose to put your money towards an incentive. You also get that money going towards our milestone, which is having our Luigi's Mansion runner beat the final boss, King Boo, one-handed. You've got a little under 3 hours for that one, so we only need about $174 to get that one met. So now is the time, chat. Put the money towards that the bid war and get a bonus milestone unlock.
That sounds
Thank
awesome.
you. Actually, perfect timing.
So here I'm just resetting once again to get the enemies back in place. They've all moved around a lot. Had a little stumble with one of them, but for the most part, not too bad, not the worst. Getting very lucky
Wow,
there.
the fact that the Molotov didn't hit is actually incredible.
Honestly, yeah.
Wow.
These enemies are being very, very nice.
Also, just a moment ago, whenever Ignis was adjusting the boat, she was adjusting so that the boat was facing the correct direction whenever she was re-entering it, making it a lot easier to drive from point A to point B.
Yes. And now we have the statues, so we're just going to
Same mark from the church.
go ahead and grab the key. There we go. And then make our way over to the next boss of the game. And we passed them a little bit earlier whenever we took out those dogs. This is going to be the first El Gigante here in the game. And usually you would have to... if I can... There we go. Usually you would have to probably take some time, take some looting to fight the giant, and possibly also incorporate the help of one of the companions in this game, the wolf. However, we're just going to take it out very, very simply with a rocket.
A tactical rocket.
Tactical rocket, straight to the face. There we go. Just like that, like nice and taken.
あー、一発で。
That was a very tactical rocket.
かわいそうに。
I hear the face is a very good tactic.
Especially Resident
Tactical
Evil.
ね、
Hitting
tactical.
the face is the goal, right? So now running up here, we will be facing one more enemy. It'll be another dog, and I like to take out this dog just that way we can be running faster once again, so we're not aggroed by it. It can occasionally also end up hitting Leon if we don't take care of it right away. So I like to take it out. And now, finally, we've made it into the church where Ashley is hiding upstairs. We have another puzzle once we get inside. In order for a ladder to drop so that we can go and find Ashley.
I'm here to help.
I'm just going to grab this dial out. And once these are all lined up, it'll drop down the ladder so that we can go and get Ashley.
Ashley, you in there?
Do you always run with standard outfits on, Ignis, or do you have a favorite outfit for Leon and Ashley?
For Leon, I change it up. I do like the pinstripe outfit for Leon, but usually I run with the standard outfit. However, for New Game Plus runs for Ashley, as you'll see here. She is actually in the armor set because the armor set makes her invincible, and so because it's allowed for New Game Plus, I always put her in the armor set so that way she doesn't get hit by any enemies, and so that she also drops if she does get grabbed by enemies. It doesn't make her entirely invincible, however. If she does get grabbed and we go into a cutscene at all, then it will count as her dying, unfortunately, but that doesn't happen luckily too often. But now that we are paired up with Ashley, I'm actually going to have her run further back from me because it tends to keep her from getting into those cutscene situations where she gets grabbed. And we're just going to run ahead without her. But she'll be fine.
なんか
And speaking of people, I think that I can also mention what the Illuminados are, actually, story-wise,
Yes.
really quick. So, it is basically a cult that worships the Plaga Parasite, and they think that they will cleanse the villagers from their sins and madness and bring salvation on Paradise on Earth through that. But actually, they are brainwashed from the parasite infection and operate from an island near the village. They have built up their own militia and lab for research on those ancient parasites.
松明振りかざしてくんの危ないな。
And the parasite originally was found in old mines in form of spores, which were inhaled by the locals, and thus they also became infected.
Do you think we'll get to see where they dug up the bugs?
Yes, actually, yes.
Most definitely.
Good, I'm glad.
Here I'm just resetting so that way
lore-wise-
Ashley can
go ahead.
catch up with us. Oh no, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that lore-wise, we're just running away from the villagers and are trying to find a hideout with Lewis. Ashley is somewhere behind us, as Leona's a slightly tiny bit faster than Ashley. I mean, who can blame her? I mean, she's wearing a full set of knight armor. and Leona is just wearing some nice cat ears, so... Okay, so this section is very precise. For the cabin fight sequence, Ignis is shooting a rocket launcher at the right shoulder or at the right window of one of the enemies and shoot more enemies with a magnum. Then 2 additional ones will spawn in. She will kill the second one first and then the first. This will manipulate the AI, and next she will use the rocket launcher with some very tactical shots, of course, the next wave of enemies. And they're killed as soon as their lanterns are also off. Which was the case, very nice. And now it's just waiting until more waves spawn in. She will take care of them. And right here she is throwing a flashbang at the enemies. She will save 2 enemies
もうなんか
and kill everybody else. This will
やたらと
spawn
パワフルな
enemies
画面演出
but
が
they are easier to kill. So that it's overall faster. The cutscene 1
景気がいいね。
was also introduced, which will be
おっ
skipped.
とっとっとっと。
Okay.
This is a little bit unfortunate.
It's all good.
Nice. Very nice time.
Yeah, not bad at all.
And the key was just basically to kill a certain amount of enemies to trigger cutscenes and spawns. And that worked out real well, actually.
Yeah. So now that Luis has separated from Leon and Ashley, they're continuing onward to go and try to find a way to basically cure themselves. And we're going to be up here meeting with the Bella sisters, some of the next bosses in the game. After we get through this area here, I'm just going to be running and hoping to avoid the enemies, hoping that they target Ashley instead of me. It looks like these enemies are being still very generous. I'm not going to worry about her being back there. She will catch up with us easy enough. We're also going to skip the enemy that is in here, leaving poor Ashley behind. But
Waiting is slow, so
Yep.
Leon just runs.
Leon's just a little too quick.
Sure is quiet.
But right up here, we're going to be taking out 2 locks. These can be taken out with different weapons. I just prefer to take it out with the handgun here. And usually this area we'd have to run around, possibly lock Ashley up inside of one of the lockers to keep her safe. But we're just going to break right in with our rocket launcher and take out the Bella
Hi.
sisters. This has one of them drop us
やはり
the
ロケッ
crate
ト
that
ラ
we
ンチャ
need
ー
to get out.
ロケットランチャーは全てを解決する
And here, just to be safe, I'm going to throw a flash grenade just to try to slow down the enemies so that way I can get this crank. It's not entirely necessary to do, and usually running for any sort of record time, I would usually skip it, but just to be safe this time around. There we go.
Are you hurt?
No, I'm okay. I guess.
You did well back there. Seems this isn't your first time running from creeps.
And now, so Leon and Ashley are going to be running into Mendez once again because he is still trying to stop Leon and get Ashley back. As long as Ashley kind of keeps up with us here, it's usually not too bad. Guys, a little quick this time to get around. We're just trying to make sure that she doesn't get grabbed at all because otherwise Mendez will be able to catch up with her a little bit too easily, which could get us to have to reset this checkpoint. But we managed to get past it all right. And I'm actually going to leave her behind a little bit here, otherwise Leon would help her up that little ledge, so we're just telling her to keep some distance so she can climb up it on her own. And this is where we run into Mendez once again. I'm going to take him out with 2 tactical rockets. This will take care of his first phase.
Oh.
And I missed the second one, but that's alright. Maybe. There we go.
はい
Nice.
一発当たれば終わりや
There are
ね
different ways to take him out there. Some people prefer to use the magnums. I like to try to line up the shot with a rocket, but occasionally it misses.
Let's keep moving.
Leon?
Also, the reason is this beam is very tiny or very, very thin,
Yes.
and there's a bloom on the rocket. So if Leon shoots the rocket, there's a chance that it might hit just the beam or it will just fly somewhere else.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't hit the beam, then you just have to readjust yourself for the next shot.
Exactly.
So that's why also some people prefer to have a sniper rifle or a magnum for that, just for consistency's sake. But it is, technically speaking, a lot slower.
I got it. Guess we better get going.
And now we've reached the castle. We're going to be running into another enemy. I think you have the name up, right, Alec?
Yes, they are called Mandibula. I think that's the pronunciation.
Sounds right to me.
Those guys. So they are basically cultists. And the reason why Leon and Ashley are inside the castle is they're both infected, right? And they need to get rid of the infection before they can actually run away. And right now they're just searching for a cure.
And here I'm going to do another reset. This is so that the counterweight inside of the window here spawns in. Otherwise it may take a moment to spawn, which could mess up the timing for the rest of this section. So here I'm going to be hoping that Ashley somewhat keeps up with us, but also gets into a position that she doesn't end up blocking me. Otherwise it may cause a little bit of chaos. But we just need to get to this cannon so that way we can open up the door.
Without getting hit? Nice.
すごいな
Very nice.
その
So
ギミ
worried
ッ
that guy
ク
was going to grab me there, but we're good. We're going to do another reset so that way the enemies are all put back into place so we can get around them. The ones closest to us are scripted to run, so this is where we're going to hope that Ashley doesn't body block us. Perfect. Did get a little stuck, but that's alright. And now she'll be able to
Otherwise,
run and catch up
perfect.
with us. Yeah, that actually wasn't too bad at all. And this is where we get
完全に置いていった
introduced to Salazar, the like second main boss of the game, I would say. do you have some information on Salazar?
Salazar will be taken care of later, and he's basically a nobleman who is also family tree is like, I don't know, eons long, and he's also responsible for closing the mines with the spores or with this parasite. But since he's also infected because of Sadler, he is working together with him and gives him
はい
a lot of
選手入
opportunities
場
to reach his goals.
And then right back there, I just took 2 shots to open some doors that we're going to run into later, and this is going to introduce us here to the, I believe, I forget their name, Gyarados, I think.
Yeah.
And that one we just take out with a rocket. We get to pre-aim a bit in the cutscene, so it's a little bit faster, even though Leon gets stunned. And usually you'd have to be stabbing him in the back or shooting him in the back, or possibly, if you're lucky, being able to run by him and open that door. But we take him out just with a rocket, as we take out a majority, if not all, of the larger enemies in this game.
もうなん
Tactical
か
rocket, of course.
Of
黙
course.
って立ってたらインテリアになれるインテリアになりきれるんちゃうかっていう
In the next section, there will be a puzzle, or the next puzzle, and this is the sword puzzle. So Ignis has to pick up every sword and then insert them in the correct sequence. Right now, she's picking those ones up, and one more right over there. And then the sequence is iron, gold, blood, and rust, and it's always the same. And also this tells also the story about the knight who we have gotten the sword, the 4th sword.
Look at all of this.
You know, just to keep Leon a little bit busy.
Yeah.
Hang on.
And so up there, that's the doors that we opened earlier with those 2 rockets aimed up just sort of at the ceiling. And now we're going to be running into another kind of RNG heavy part with these enemies here. They tend to wander around a lot more. I'm going to take out this first set of enemies here just so that way they don't block Ashley a
Wow.
little bit later. And then hopefully utilize several flash grenades here, because these enemies will turn into a lot stronger enemies rather than just the simple ones if we end up shooting them at all, which could cause more problems than it's really worth. So it's better, in my opinion, just to flash them, keep them distracted for a little bit of time, and also hopefully have Ashley catch up with us as well.
Killing those enemies would not only clear them, yes, sure, but the thing is, more enemies can spawn in and more additional enemies can spawn in, so that the next upcoming section will be a lot more difficult. So that's also another reason to flashbang them.
Mm-hmm.
More very exciting wheel turning. And Ashley is at a good spot, I hope.
She's at a reasonable spot. Damn. I think that she's gonna be able to catch up to me here now.
No, she's... okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, so once we run up here, it's going to de-aggro actually the enemies, so that way she can just kind of run right through them. As you can see, that person over there just isn't gonna shoot us anymore. They're not gonna face us. They're not worried about us.
I'm fine.
And up here...
It's a timeout zone.
Yeah, exactly. They can't touch us over here. So up here, Ashley has to turn that wheel and that wheel over there. And she's got enemies coming towards her as well as enemies coming towards us. So our job is just to keep the enemies off of her as quickly as possible. We also want to take them out very quickly, so that way they their corpses despawn. Otherwise, she will slow down trying to walk around them as well.
And at this section, different runners prefer different guns. So for example, Ignis is preferring a handgun. Some others prefer a Stingray, which is the rifle. Some prefer a sniper rifle. And then another runner prefers to rocket launcher everything. So this is totally up to the runner. And the timing seems pretty good, so actually they didn't stop.
Hey, it's not too bad.
Is the one cultist still like looking
Yep,
at the
they're
stairs?
right there.
Yes,
Staring
he's
down
guarding.
at the stairs.
So apparently this game does not only have a few friendly NPCs such as the merchants, Ashley and Ada, but also we have found another one. Nice.
The other friendly NPC, yes. So up here, I'm just running ahead of Ashley so that way I can get the door open. I am going to stand back here so that she can catch up, and we can keep the door open for her so she doesn't have to reopen it again. The gentlemanly thing to do. There we go.
You know the chivalry.
Yep. And we're just going to boost her over again so that she can open up this door for us. She is great at opening doors. That is the majority of the things that she does for us is open the doors. Always having to sit.
Sometimes she takes.
She takes her time.
Yep.
There we go.
And in this cutscene that Ignis has skipped, after Ashley has opened the door, that chapter will end, right? And Ashley in this cutscene is being mind controlled by the parasite or Sadler and will attack Leon. And after a few minutes, Ashley gains her conscious back and runs away from Leon just out of fear of her being dangerous to him. So that's why our objective is to find
一切の
her
躊躇
again.
がない。
Also, the one enemy that Ignis has taken out is the summoner, and it is the most efficient to kill him right away, so that he doesn't run around in this arena and spawns on more enemies or more difficult enemies.
And he drops this lantern that we're just going to use here. The other enemies won't chase us out of there as soon as we're out of that room. And this is, I believe, where we get introduced to Ada.
Yes. So speaking of Ada, Ada and Leon chit-chat a little bit, and Ada helps Leon throughout the whole game, but she wants him to survive, so she tries to tell him to leave Ashley alone and just run away, which Leon doesn't accept. Here there's a stone puzzle where some stone plates have to be turned so that they match a pattern, and then a secret door is opening.
All right. Need to find Ashley.
Right, and another new enemy will be introduced in just a moment, which is this Plaga parasite, and it will attach itself to a host and then make him a lot more faster. In a new game run, you would need to take care of him with some precise shots, but Ignis is doing it with a precise rocket launcher shot.
And now in this section, we're going to be coming across several different counterweights that we're going to have to interact with. This one up here... Try to take out those guys. This one up here can be taken out with a handgun or with grenades, I believe, as well. We're just going to be taking these out with a rocket because it's a little bit easier.
Nice.
And then doing the same thing again. Now this one in here usually would have to be taken out with a grenade through the small slit in the wall there. However, we're just going to take it out just like that. And this is going to trigger the second giant to spawn from the game. Now we could kill him now with a rocket launcher if we really wanted to. However, just to save time, it's actually better to kill him a little bit later whenever we get to the cannon that we're running to, that we're going to have to use to open the door. You could also skip killing him at the cannon, but he's going to continue throwing rocks no matter what. So it's best just to kill him to get him out of the way.
Did the enemy just
Jump down.
fell like through Leon?
They just fell down.
Okay. That was also the giant and also the
Open for traffic.
door, and now it's almost over with this chapter.
We're technically going to run into the giant again here in the cutscene, but we're not going to worry about him. He's just going to break the bridge.
Sorry, I've had my fill of you guys.
And Leon will continue on his way, and down here is where he's going to finally get to reunite once again with Ashley.
Where are you?
Right, and their whole discussion will be just Ashley wants to stay there and just accept whatever fate awaits her. But Leon arguments with they're both infected and they have to work together to get rid of the infection. So Ashley just agreed to it, and now they're running together.
And we're running through the maze section where we're going to be running into several dogs. Some of these dogs are scripted and where the locations are, so they're very predictable. For the most part, usually only towards the end are they really
Keep your dogs on a leash, people.
difficult to fight. And we have to go around this maze to drop down 3 of these flags in order to get inside of the castle once again. So right here is the first one, and we can't skip these cutscenes at all. We just have to watch all of the flags drop down.
Hey, look! The flag's been lowered.
But that takes care of the first one. This next section, a few more dogs are going to spawn. We're going to take care of them pretty much the same way. This first dog, just getting it out of the way. However, these dogs here in this cage, I am going to try to kill 2 of them, just that way they are out of the way, but one always manages to break through regardless. And we're going to have Ashley hold this down for us. This is why we don't want the dogs over here, so that way they're not hitting Ashley or knocking her over at all, so that way she keeps the door open for us the entire time.
犬のしつけもできてない。
And going up through here, now that we've gone through the door, this is going to bring us up to the second flag. And it's going to trigger some enemies to spawn in. These enemies, if we don't end up killing them, they actually stop Ashley from moving.
ここまでやっといて肌が焼けてないのは不思議やけど。
At all. But we're not going to kill them quite yet.
布じゃないのかも
We're
しれ
gonna
ない。
get the next flag. Just since that enemy runs so far ahead, it's a little bit easier to get them whenever they're reset in their positions, because they go back quite a ways.
Now,
There we go, with all 3 of those reset. Unfortunate.
So this cultist is always like special. He does every single run. He does something random. What it feels like. Sometimes he just stands still. Sometimes he runs over and like chucks you a little bit or punches you. And sometimes he just punches you with this torch.
Yep.
So very interesting to see that.
There's a statue.
Just a little bit of bad RNG, but it happens. It just kind of depends on how quickly he manages to push you over, if he manages to push you. But now that we're in here, we need to go and get 3 more statue heads again. So this first one, I'm going to skip over a cutscene by killing the cultists that are over in there to just go straight over to grabbing the statue. Usually, what would happen is a cutscene would appear, and an enemy would pull the lever that is across the way there. Which would cause Leon and Ashley to drop down on that platform that we were going across. I just skip over that entirely by killing them with the rocket. It can also be avoided in other ways, but the rocket's the easiest way to do it.
Leon, there's
This
some
brings us to the second statue head, where we come across several knights that are going to appear.
for my taste.
too bad. I think
And I'm just going to stand down where we're going to eventually be picking up Ashley.
Come on, you can't be serious.
戦闘に関してはもう心配になる場面が何一つないね。
Also, the torches at the wall are indicating which enemies will spawn in the next. The first wave is indicated by that, and the second wave is more or less random.
99. Knights.
And we get Leon's fabulous punch.
鎧着込んだ人が あんな高いとこ落ちてきて受け止められるかっていう
My
と
favorite line in the entire game.
Right?
腕とか腰とかやりそうやけ
The
ど。
entire reason I speedrun this game is for Leon's puns, honestly. Alright, but now we are
Not
heading
only
over
puns, but
to...
he's also sassy.
Right? The sass. It's fantastic. But we're running up to the third statue head now. This one doesn't have any enemies in it. It is just a puzzle that you can solve by some pictures up on the walls. We just need them to sit down at 2 specific locations. We're gonna have Ashley sit right there,
No thanks.
and Leon sit right there. Of course, we have these memorized. These don't change at all for assisted. But they can just solve it by the picture in the back. Take the final statue head.
ピーン。
And now once we put all of these in, some barriers are going to pop up, trapping Leon here inside, and Ashley is going to be separated from him, so now it's going to be her job to save Leon. So we're going to be transferring into Ashley's segment. And luckily we have basically nothing to worry about with Ashley since she is in the armor. She is set to survive. She just needs to make it through and grab the slate to free Leon. Here she does have a sort of like the only weapon that she gets in the game, which is the lantern in her hand. She can use it to basically freeze some of these enemies up ahead, but we're not going to be worried about that too much. Also, we're skipping a section here where we would have to go and find the time for this clock, going through those rooms instead, but we already know the time on the clock, so we're just going to head straight through.
And speaking of riddles and puzzles, not every Resident Evil game has deterministic puzzle solutions. Some are randomized, so shout out to all of the classic Resident Evil 1 and 2 and 3 speedrunners who have to deal with the randomized solutions.
Randomized solutions would make it so challenging.
Thank God. I am done with armor.
Now this room is pretty straightforward. We're just going to wake up all of the armor sets by pulling all of these bells, which opens the door at the end there. And even if Ashley did manage to get hit here, she'd be entirely fine since she does have the armor, but most of the knights are pretty slow, and so she doesn't really get hit by them. And right here you can see the blue flame, that's the same that's in the lantern. It's going to freeze a majority of the knights behind us, not all of them, getting them second place, so they're blocking our path out. And this brings us to Ashley's puzzle up here, where we're just going to replace the lanterns. They're always in the same positions. And that is going to take away her only weapon, and only way to defend herself, but she'll be fine, she can just run.
No, don't go out.
Wow.
This latest to free Leon. So Ashley picks it up and runs away, and later on she will insert it into a socket to free Leon from the cage.
Okay. Good nights and stay still.
And this part here is entirely scripted. If you just run forward, she basically never gets hit. The enemies all move practically the exact same way. We can just run straight through to the elevator. Even this one at the end, that sometimes seems like it cuts it close.
The only quote-unquote real danger will be just in front of us. The knight in front of us.
So this knight...
With this armor set...
Go ahead.
With this armor set that Ashley is wearing, she's basically invulnerable. So this isn't an issue in New Game Plus speedruns. But in New Game speedruns, there's a trick where you can swap the FPS from 120 to 30 to barely squeeze by the knight to avoid getting hit. Otherwise it would one-shot you, and then you would need to restart this whole section.
Almost there.
right here, we're going to insert in the slate and free Leon. And unfortunately for Ashley, as she does manage to free Leon, she herself gets captured once again. So now Leon has to go back and continue. Go ahead.
A mental counter. How many times did you get catched? Like 3, 4 times?
Something like
By
that,
now
yeah.
already? Yeah.
Just a couple. Just a few.
And speaking of a couple or a few, in this level, AudioIgnis, a very favorite enemies of the game are introduced. Those are flying insects, or Navistadors, as the locals are calling them. And they are very RNG dependent. So they can sometimes be very nice and sometimes very annoying to deal with. And Ignis will do a series of precise movements and flash throws to take care of them.
And we're gonna hope that that hits enough.
わあ。
That looks pretty good.
虫の類ってこっからも出ます？
Nice.
プレイしたことある方。
That one
苦手な方はちょっ
doesn't
と
seem like it's attacking us, so I
ご
think
注意ください。
we should be good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So 2 levers have to be pulled. Number 1 is already done. Then number 2 is missing. And she is lining up a line basically to run
まあ
optimally
今後も出る
through
との
all
こ
of
とな
the
ので、まあ
enemies.
ご注意。
Or by the
まあ苦手な方
enemies.
は。
This should have taken care of, okay, almost everybody. This one was very nice, okay.
The enemies are being very nice to me today.
That doesn't happen often, let me tell you that.
No, it
this
does not.
is really, really good RNG there.
いやまあでもその
In here, we
人
have
が
some counterweights that we're going to move down to get across this
ま
bridge.
あ少なくとも
Inside of here, we have 2
今回に限って言えば
more,
もう
giant sword hand enemies. I'm
なんかも
going
う
to
対応は即座にしてくれると思うんで
lining up. I think that shot missed.
見るのも嫌だってのでなけれ
Lining
ば
up
大
there
丈夫
and
か
then
なっ
throwing
て
a
気も
flash grenade because these other enemies tend to get a bit too aggressive in here. So to avoid having to deal with any of them,
実際自分で遊んでねなんか対処できないままプレイ操作キャラに寄ってこられたりとかするとすっごい
Here we go. And this is where Leon he ends up finding Ashley. However, he gets dropped down into the water down below. Luckily, not getting hit by any of these sticks. And you get another fabulous pun from him.
なんやここは
Talk about sticking the landing.
But here we're just going to be running into more of the bug enemies. These ones are all set in place where they're going to appear at, so it's luckily fairly predictable.
The hell?
But these enemies we do have to take out. We can't just run around them. They are always going to be swimming through the water and going straight towards attacking Leon, so there is no, unfortunately, avoiding them.
Unless you're actually running just the any percent category where out of bounds
True, true.
glitches are allowed. In which case you would just, in the small little crawl space that Leon just passed, it is possible to go out of bounds and then just outrun this whole section, just go upstairs and just flee the section like that.
And then right up here...
Which is not a lot. Here.
Yeah, not a lot. Right up here, I'm just going to use the rocket, otherwise we would have to use possibly a grenade, or Leon just breaks down that rock wall, but we're just breaking it a little bit quicker. Utilizing the rocket for a lot of the run.
I had no idea you could break that wall open with weapons.
Yeah. Grenade, I don't know if you can shoot it with a shotgun, I think you might be able to, but... Or, of course, the best weapon, the rocket launcher.
What's the intended way actually? Actually, the grenade?
The intended way is just Leon actually kicking it down. He can interact with it and break down the wall.
Alright.
It takes a few kicks. It usually takes like I think 2 or 3 kicks for him to take it fully down, but we just take it down in an instant. And this area is leading to another, I would say, mini boss fight. And as you can see, like the red sort of mechanisms on the walls, those are used to freeze this enemy. But we're not going to be using any of that. Just like with just about everything else, we will be taking this one out with rockets. But these rockets are going to be very specifically actually much more tactical. If we mess up these rockets at all,
大掛かりや
it
な。
can cause us to lose quite a bit of time.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Like actually tactical.
Yes.
What do you mean? All the other ones have been tactical as well?
Yes, this is
Oh,
just
that's true,
slightly
that's
more
true.
tactical.
And also this enemy is called Verdugo, and it's not the alien from the Alien franchise, it's actually an enemy in Resident Evil.
Though it certainly looks like the alien. But so right there, the tactical rockets, it was a very specific spot to aim at and waiting for him to fully stand up. If you shoot him a little bit too fast, he will just jump straight back up into the vents, and if you wait to shoot him, he will jump back up into the vents as well, so you have to wait for the exact moment. And the second rocket as well, if you do not hit it with the second rocket fast enough, then it will jump up into the vents again as well. And as you can see, the elevator's already there waiting for us. The problem is if he jumps up into the vents, the elevator will in fact not wait for us, and we will have to kill him just a little bit later, which is what we want to avoid. So that's why we want to make sure those rockets are as precise as possible. And this brings
All right, well, while we change chapters here, I'd just like to quickly remind everybody that we do have both a donation bid war and a donation milestone open right now. So it is the best possible time to donate. We have Vivian leading the bid war out of Vivian and Amy for an upcoming run. So Amy fans, I want to see you band together. And we also have the milestone of having Luigi's Mansion, the final boss, King Boo, defeated
なる
one-handed.
ほど。
And we are only about 2 hours
Wow.
from that cutoff. So get your money in. Let's raise some money for a great animal rescue cause.
Yes.
Do either of you have any pets?
Yes.
You sure you're just
Both of us, yes.
We have cats. I have 2 cats.
And I have 1 dog and 1 cat. So another tactical rocket launcher shot. And the fact that
Oh, yay.
Lewis is already out of that section. Okay, never mind. I spoke too soon. Or not? Okay,
We
never
said
mind.
the voice
never mind.
line very, very quickly. That was very surprising. But yeah, so the 2 other tactical rockets, that rocket is very tactical to kill these 2 giants. You want to hit an exact spot on their shoulder of the armored giant. If you do manage to do that, you take out both giants in 1 hit as opposed to taking them out 1 at a time.
cooped up down here too?
So that one you do have to aim a little bit more for.
See, this is where they discovered Las Plagas.
And the reason why I was very surprised that Lewis is actually not besides the giants is because he likes to get stuck there somehow.
Yes.
And it might take a few minutes in the worst case for him to get unstuck. Unfortunately, he cannot type in the console /unstuck to get out of there. So sometimes it is painfully slow to wait there.
Yes. Sometimes it's added like 30 seconds, something like that, to it, because he just stands there staring at the giants.
What now?
But now here, so this is we can't really speed up this section at all. This is just going over the minecarts. And Luis has given us his gun. The only options we really have here is to lean side to side and
Nice.
shoot.
何で走っ
So
とんね
that's
ん、確かにこい
basically all we're
つ。
going to be doing with the enemies here. We just want to make sure that our cart stays alive. And that's pretty much it. Luckily and assisted, their aim is usually pretty bad. I've gotten hit maybe like 3 times in all of speedrunning it.
But sometimes they can also pseudo hit you, so the bolts will actually hit the cart but will not do any damage. I've seen that sometimes. But while Ignis is shooting and throwing a cart in a mine, let's talk about the mines actually. So I've mentioned that the mines are very important for the whole story or the backstory. And as a matter of fact, the last Plaga this whole section is also connected to Resident Evil 5. The last Plaga with the Stairway to Heaven, which is a flower from Resident Evil 5, they are connected. The flower that I mentioned is located in West Africa, and in Resident Evil 5 there's this flower with a tribe that protects it, and this tribe is also eating the flower to gain superhuman strength. And Umbrella has used this flower as a basis for the T-virus, which was spread in Raccoon City in 98. But this tribe worshipped a perfect organism, and I'm not talking about the alien, but actually the Plaga parasite. They also worshipped, and they also somehow ended up being in Spain, like this parasite, and there's where the Los Illuminados worship them. But back into the mines. In the mines, there are insect hives for those parasites, also known as the holy insects by Los Illuminados. How this looks like, we will see that in just a minute or two.
並走するトロッコを
Here, so
撃
this
つ
is the
ってい
first
うの
cart
は
complete. We have another cart
RE
to go
版の
to, and we need Luis to get there as quickly as possible. So we're just going to
なん
be
ていう
taking
かア
out
レン
the
ジ
enemies. And the easiest way to do that is, of course, with a nice rocket.
そうや、こいつロケラン
And
持ってる
then
ん
the
や
one enemy that's just a little bit further away, we're just going to take him out with a magnum. Otherwise, Luis will usually stop and shoot at the enemies if we don't get them out of the way. And then I'm just going to run to the end here and continue trying to go in this direction. Perfect, so that way he gets there as quickly as possible. And this will start into the second
またトロッコが
where we actually are going to be running into another chainsaw enemy inside of one of the carts. And usually they're pretty easy to take care of.
第2層始まったところですが、時間になりましたんで、司会交代させていただきます。これまでの司会進行を抱負が務めさせていただきました。失礼します。
There he is. Chainsaw Man. Is it actually his canon name in this game? Chainsaw Man?
I think so. So there I just wanted to get in as much damage on his car as possible in case I do miss the upcoming shot. So I was just trying to hit it. Though it's not going to break up until the second section. Oh my gosh. There we go.
First
はい
try.
皆さん、
First try.
聞こえておりますでしょうか、ここから司会進行交代し、私、平良が担当いたします。よろしくお願いいたします。
So right
聞こ
here
え
is the
て
barrel
そう
that
です
we
かね。
want
はい、
to
ありが
try
とう
to
ござい
hit.
ます。
There we go.
Nice.
バイオハザー
And
ド
that barrel did the extra damage that
4
we
の
needed
リメイ
to
ク
the
ですか
chainsaw
ね、問
guy.
題は。
Otherwise, it would
ちょっ
just
と待って
take
く
a
ださい
few
ね。途
extra
中参
shots
加
really
で
to kill him.
つい
It's
今
not
見始めたところなんで。
anything game
終
breaking
わる
to
の
miss
かな。
those shots. It's just a lot more convenient. So here, just like that.
Oh my, Leon language. I think this would, if Leon knew Minecraft, this would give him a prime opportunity to make a pun out of that as well.
Right?
But since we're playing in 2005, technically it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And speaking of not working, in just a moment to our right-hand side, we will see one of the nests that I mentioned.
Mhm.
Which is about here in just a moment.
A little bit further still. We have one more thing
I
right
get
here.
so confused on those mines.
Yeah. One more track to switch.
Whenever I'm watching this part, okay, so to our right-hand side, we see one of the hives that I mentioned, and the Los Illuminados call them also the Holy Insects. And Lewis, the guy on the right side, found this ancient parasite preserved in amber, and this parasite is way stronger than the one inside the Saddler. And right here, oh, nice. Ignis was pause buffering there so that she will skip one stagger animation from Leon, so that she can actually drop down a lot faster. This was very good. About Lewis and Sadler. So the one parasite that Lewis has found is a lot stronger than the one that is controlling Sadler. And he understood the consequences, so Lewis manipulated the work and tried to get rid of the sample. This is also the reason why Sadler kidnapped Ashley, in fact. It is the reason he wants to infect her with a plaga, free her so that she can get back to the US, and from there she will be mind controlled and will spread the plaga throughout the US, and Sadler will become the new leader basically. And Sadler didn't operate by himself. Jack Krauser has helped him a lot, but more on that later.
So right through there, I was just trying to take out any enemies that Luis may stop to try to shoot at. Unfortunately, we did get hit, but that's alright. And right here is where we're going to be swapping back to the deer antlers. So the deer antlers give us extra damage with the knife, and this is where we're going to be fighting Krauser.
Are you being controlled by that cult?
So right there, Ignis has stabbed him 3 times into the leg, and then the pause was to time a technical step into the face. But his animation was a little bit delayed, so he blocked it. But overall, it was pretty good.
Not the worst.
And the cutscene that was skipped, Lewis unfortunately died. And right here is also the place where the deer antlers will be changed to the cat ears.
And here we're heading towards the clock tower. Go ahead.
So I was mentioning, I can talk about Jack Krauser right about now. So I mentioned Jack Krauser, right? But how is he connected with everything? Krauser is a former trainer of Leon and was thought to be dead since 2002, I believe. And in the Resident Evil Dark Fate Chronicles, which is also a game that came out only on the Nintendo, the backstory is explained. So Leon was ordered by the government to find a drug lord, but he was very jealous of Leon's connections to the government because of the events from Resident Evil 2. That helped him to gain more connections. He didn't believe in BOW, so bioorganic weapons, until one of them attacked him and Leon. And this BOW was controlled by the drug lord. And a Black Ops operation, Operation Javier, Krauser's squad was wiped out by the US government, and Krauser was considered dead. For that reason, Krauser hates the US government a lot. And right here, Ignis is shooting a giant head.
So I shoot that giant head. I shoot that head basically because it's going to drop down and start spewing a bunch of fire, which could get in the way. So to avoid getting hit by any of that fire,
Well, this is unfortunate.
we just break the head. A little unfortunate, getting a little bit hit, but that's all right. Now up here, you'll see the giant boulder that's heading toward us, and rather than trying to dodge out of the way of it in any way, shape, or form, Leon's just going to face tank it. Since we have enough health to go against it, because it is a little bit faster instead of having to stop and wait for it. The second one we're just going to run right past. And this brings us over to the elevator. Now, the main thing with this elevator is just making sure that we keep enemies off of the elevator as much as possible. And also killing the summoners that do appear, so that way they don't create any stronger enemies for us to deal with In new game runs, it's best probably to use the shotgun in this situation because the shotgun can keep all of the enemies off pretty easily. But we're just going to take the enemies out, making sure that they definitely won't be getting onto here with the rocket. Now, the only situation that I really have to watch out for is that sometimes by killing them so quickly, they spawn in a lot faster than they otherwise would. So we just have to make sure that they are not going to appear too quickly and jump down onto the platform, because if any of them jump onto it at all, it's going to stop it, which would of course delay some time.
Also, this whole session is very different from the classic Resident Evil 4. In the classic one, you need to run away from this giant statue, whereas here we're just riding elevators, shooting the statue, and are not very careful about the quick time events that were in the classic one. And during this very exciting elevator ride, I think it would be a good timing to read out something, if there is something.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a whole mess of things I can read here. I would like to first and foremost give a shout out to the Japanese restream, !Japanese in chat. If the English stream is not necessarily for you, or in this case, the Australian and American stream is not necessarily for you, the Japanese restream is, of course, available. I'd also like to give a shout out to Complete-a-thon, which is another charity event dedicated to completionist speedruns. This includes 100%, all collectibles, and even categories where you just collect all of a specific collectible, such as all red berries or all red shrines, just to name a few. If you are interested, if you are one of the people who likes to see things through till the end, you can find out more by joining the Discord. The link is below the Twitch stream, or follow on Twitter or Blue Sky. But I will shut up now because we're about to see my favorite boss.
Now, see very briefly the favorite boss as we take him out,
Right.
also with a quick rocket. Another trick that I utilized back there was just switching the run animation for Leon from toggle to hold. So usually Leon just runs normally ahead, but we switch it to hold to go
なん
over that
か
platform
明
because
らかに
Leon would otherwise
ボスでし
end
ょっ
up
ていうデカブツ
dying
が
if he ran fully
一
across it.
瞬
We didn't take
で
the time to walk across it, so
出て
instead he
は
does the goofy run
倒れましたね。
animation to get across that. And then that fantastic boss, I love the normal boss fight, but just as with pretty much every single boss in New Game Plus runs, we just take him out with another tactical rocket.
And I should point out that he is my favorite because killing him is so satisfying.
Very satisfying.
Yes.
He's also the boss that you can take out with the golden egg, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Also, in the background, you have seen Crosser or Leon angrily say Crosser, and there was a boat driving by. And in this boat, not only Crosser is there, but also Ashley. And he got Ashley and is bringing her to the mentioned island of the Los Illuminados. And the cutscene that Ignis has skipped, Ada confronts Leon again. She gives him the key for the boat to escape, but he is very stubborn and will continue the search for Ashley.
He has a job to do and he's going to do it. Now up here...
It is a common thing.
Oh, go ahead.
It is a common theme, I believe, for Resident Evil protagonists to be very stubborn. I have to think of Ethan from Resident Evil 7 and 8 right now.
Honestly, Chris as well with finding Jill.
True, true.
But so right up there is one of the first laser turrets, I guess you could call it, that we interact with. That one we have to turn, but to avoid the rest of them, we're going to be using some other strats for. I do a tactical reset there, and I'll let Alex Meister continue explaining this.
Right, so in the upcoming... Right there, Ignis will perform a so-called grenade skip. She will throw a grenade behind the brute or this pig-head ganado. She will run up to him and pull the aggro from him. The brute will trigger the turret to attack him. Very nice, actually. Very, very
Not
nice.
bad.
And then Leon can run past the turret tracker and
走りを
the brute without getting
探
hit.
してかけてる。連れ去られたか
So
ら
yes,
かけてる。
both of
そういう
those
ストー
guys
リ
are
ーで
just
したか
beating
ね。
each other up. Leon can
が
just sprint
お
past them.
城に連れ去ら
Sometimes
れ
she
てた
has
の
to
に
pull out the shotgun and
孤
just
島
shoot them,
に
but not in this case.
連れてかれちゃったから。さあ
And right here, there's this rocket guy.
移動
And
したわけですね。
speedrunners also have for this specific section a lot more many approaches. Ignis waits until it's at rocket launcher, and then she run past him and squeezes by all of the enemies. And as I said, different runners have different strats for the rocket launcher guy, so there are also multiple ways to approach it.
This is where they're keeping Ashley?
And now up here, this is where they are keeping Ashley, and Leon is going to end up finding her inside of here. And he is going to learn that we have to, of course, rather than just getting Ashley out, we have to go around collecting or upgrading a key card. Now, first we're going to get past these enemies. That first guy I'm going to run past, but this second guy I like to take out. He tends to usually hit me if I keep him alive. But the other guy back at that gate shouldn't be a problem, unlike that one. We're just going to ignore the third guy that was inside of that room. He usually isn't too big of a deal to deal with. And the enemies in here, they are mostly scripted, so we can pretty easily run past all of them, though they sound very threatening.
In a casual playthrough, I would consider to shoot the Picket Ganado just because he looks a little bit more dangerous than the other ones.
And right here, inside of the furnace, we're going to run into another enemy that usually would stop and grab you and whatnot. We're just going to slide right by him. And this is going to introduce us to the regenerators. This is another new enemy in the game. These ones, you usually have to use a thermal lens to scope. That's it, yeah. A thermal scope to see. You get an attachment for it a little bit later. So you want to actually be able to... You could hypothetically kill the regenerators here, but it's very, very difficult. So usually you would just end up running past them in this section. But of course, we are going to take them out very strategically.
まあさっきのお城から明らかに
Grab our
You want to
first
say
key
that
cards.
潜在的な
there is another
Anda.
tactical rocket launch
Kanji.
moment?
Yep.
Nice.
研究所が出てきてますね。
And we're just taking them out so that way, one, they don't slow us down with
なんか
being
バイオハザード
aggro
で
to us,
見慣
and
れた
also
光
so that way
景
they don't end up blocking us a little bit later. I
な
know
感
in
じ
new game
パブ
runs,
リックイメー
we're
ジ的
going
に
to
という
shoot
感
them
じがし
with
ます
a shotgun just in the legs to keep them from attacking for the most part. But we can just take them out entirely, not really have to worry about them. And another one is going to spawn in here, but it's going to spawn after this cutscene, so it's just kind of a waiting game. We're not in a rush to kill this one, but we are going to kill it just right away since my
アイドル
level
ね
is a little bit low.
バイオハザード的なアイドル
Shit, again?
And I'm going to keep Leon facing back here against this, so that way we can just have a straight run out as soon as the keycard is done. Leon doesn't have to face it to take it, he can just grab it once again. It's unfortunate passing all of the treasure.
And then, as you already touched the subject, the intended way is to kill them with the help of a thermal vision or a thermal scope on a rifle or sniper rifle, for example, to locate the heart. Everything else is cold, but only the heart is warm, so you can just shoot the weak spot. And the name, regenerator. So if something else than the heart is attacked, so for example the head, the legs, or whatever, they will regenerate that limb or that body part after a small time. and can not die from that damage alone. But the rocket launcher splash damage is more than enough to just take care of it. Very nice RNG there.
Very, very lucky RNG. So right there with the 4 regenerators inside of those boxes, we could take the time to switch to grabbing the scope and looking through them to see which one has the wrench inside of it, because we need the wrench in order to open this compartment to get the next upgraded keycard. However, it's just easier to drop all 4 of them with a rocket, and then it's entirely RNG for which one actually has the wrench inside of it. So we just get to guess. I always run over to the left in hopes that that's the first one with the wrench. It's not always, but we got really, really lucky this time around. And then I'm just clearing out the rest of the enemies. These ones spawn in a wave. We just don't want them blocking our path at all, which I think they should all be taken care of by now. And with the final keycard, we're able to once again reach Ashley.
And speaking of Ashley, I don't know how Leon does it, but in the cutscene that is about to be skipped, Leon finds Ashley and injects her an antidote against the Plaga, but the Plaga virus is still inside, or remains still inside the body, and they have to find and reach Lewis' lab to get rid of this strong parasite mutation, and also of Leon's infection, because he's still infected. And the reason why I'm saying is that Leon is insane for giving her the antidote is he inserted the antidote through all of the metal, through all of the armor, straight into her neck. So kudos to him.
I've got some new items in stock.
Leon's just built different. And now, so we are reunited with Ashley now. In glitched runs, you can usually just break through that wall and skip this entire section. However, we are going to be running around, and did that guy mutate? He did.
お、今みたいに
I'm
拳
taking
銃を
out
撃
these
ってる
enemies
ときは、
specifically
なん
because I
か、
don't want them to be
バイオ
interacting
ハザー
with
ドだ、
Ashley
ホラーだ
later as much as
って感じです
possible.
け
I
ど、
want her to
ロ
be
ケランを
moving
撃っ
as
てると、
quickly
あ、
as she can be.
あー、バイオハザード
So I'm
だ、
trying to
建
keep
物が
them
頑丈
all
だって
cleared
感じで、
out. Whoops.
こう、ちょっと
As
作品の
much
雰
as
囲気が
possible.
違って見えますね。
Perfect.
あー、撃ってる。
And I'm also going to go and take out these enemies down here, so that way they aren't grabbing her either. There we go.
Nice.
And though it does seem a little bit slower, it's better. We want her running as quickly as possible, because otherwise she could stop, she could get grabbed, like, lots of things could happen. We just want her right behind us, and it sounds like she's pretty close to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's right there. Sure.
We go at the same time, yeah?
Got it.
Nice.
So now they both need to interact with these levers here at the same time in order to progress. We're going to run into another one where another regenerator is going to spawn. However, we're not going to kill this specific regenerator because this one is actually in Iron Maiden, which means that it basically is going to end up looking like a porcupine and grow a lot of spikes in a second phase. And to avoid having to deal with that at all, we're just running past it, leaving it behind. Luckily, it doesn't follow us in this direction. And now we're going to have Ashley open that up for us, and we're going to run around to go and pull that lever across there. Luckily, because of the speed that we can run with the charm that we have, we don't have to stop to kill any enemies. We can just run straight through all of this section.
Also, I just noticed that Ashley was saying that she's actually pretty good at turning the wheels. Now that I think about it, it would be extremely handy to have Ashley in Resident Evil 5 for certain tricks.
Honestly, it would. I can fully agree with that.
Just for context, there are some segments where you have to pull a lever for a very long time, and if Ashley can take care of that, that would be awesome.
Get off me!
Literally the only time in history a speedrunner has wanted Ashley in their game.
True. She seems to be doing well, right?
Yeah, she's totally fine, I'm sure. Now,
Yep.
those bugs aren't necessary to take care of. I just take them out because they tend to also grab me there. But we're going to jump down here, leaving Ashley behind once again, and just run straight over to the wrecking ball where Ashley is going to get inside. And I'm just going to speed up the process of this section with, of course, a rocket by breaking down the wall a little bit faster. It's not fully broken. Ashley still has to swing the wrecking ball at least one time. But for the most part, it should be ready to go, and Leon's going to stand directly in its line of path. Because magically he does not get hit by this. I don't believe that works in New Game runs. It only, I think, works in New Game Plus. At least it's only worked for me in New Game Plus. I'm not sure why. But now that the wall is broken, we're just gonna wait for Ashley to get back over to us. And take this
Explanation.
reload, go ahead.
The explanation for that trick is just speedrun magic.
Yep, literally just speedrun magic.
That was awesome!
I think you might have found your calling.
大統領の娘さん、
And now we get to sit and
アシュ
wait
リーさんかなは、
for this
重機を扱って
if there's anything else
壁を破壊できる。
that you have to read
さ
right
すが
now.
だ。
Maybe someday I'll become an agent
もっ
like
とお若い頃に、もっと幼い頃に、
Absolutely. I would
So
like to
you-
remind everybody that we do have both a milestone and
習
a
い事かな
donation bid
を
war
受けたり
happening
してたのかも。
right now. So if you head to !donate on the
Yeah.
in the wonderful Twitch
機
chat,
械を動かす。
you will see that we have a
習い
Luigi's
事。
Mansion One-Handed King Boo milestone, which will be unlocked at
なかなか手の遅いかも。
$325. The cutoff for that is in a little over 2 hours. If I'm doing my time zone conversion in my head correctly, which I'll be perfectly honest, there's a very high chance that I'm not. But we also have an ongoing bid war for the next run. So that one is ending substantially sooner. So there's a bid war between both Amy and Vivian for the glitchless route. Vivian is currently still in head, but only by $1. So if you want to be responsible for changing the course of the next run, get a donation in, put it towards the Amy incentive, and at the same time, you'll be putting it towards unlocking the One-Handed King Boo milestone for Luigi's Mansion, which is the run after the next run.
I've been waiting for you.
Speaking of run, the transitions are just amazing. Thank you for that. So we let this cutscene run, or Ignis lets this cutscene run for
You always
a
have
certain
poor judgment.
reason. So first of all, the meme Crosser yaps about pure and unadulterated power, but more importantly is the cutscene will be only skipped at a certain point or moment to avoid getting staggered by his machine gun. And for that reason, it also is important to make sure that the armor is full enough, in which I hope Ignis
Yes, it's full enough.
is?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, nice. Yes, so right now we're just listening to them, or to Crosser yap.
What this is all about. See, in that jungle, I had a revelation. The most
Just a moment.
important thing in this world is pure, unadulterated power.
There's this pure,
Most of
unadulterated
my lives
power.
have given me that.
You know you were always an asshole. But at least you had some kind of code.
And this is also the code to skip the cutscene.
Yep.
Right, so right here, Ignis has to crank this crank. And after that, she will be jumping down to that open door. In just a moment.
So goddamn weak.
And in just a moment, she will also cycle through the weapons so that she is not affected by the flashbang that Crosser has thrown.
Barely made it
And right here in this part, there are a lot of traps, and they will be taken care of with shotguns, rocket launchers, pistols, you name it. And some of them will be just triggered and ignored. Right here, Ignis will wait for just a brief moment so that until he shoots the rocket. There you go.
Ah,
More shift
運
W
転ス
action
キップのタイミングで、
until the
さっきの
bridge.
クラウザー、ボスかなの位置が変わる。
Right at this bridge,
むず。
Ignis is shooting a rocket launcher at Krauser and runs straight to the gate. And it's important to stand as far inside the tunnel as possible
右で
before getting staggered
歩
by
き
the
回って
grenades
るからで
so
す
that
か？
Leon stumbles forwards instead of to the side and getting hit by the grenades. Right here, the actual boss fight continues. It's first stage. First, that works, I believe.
Not quite.
Not quite. Okay. So the speedrun intended
restart
way
it?
would be to use the Magnum once to the chest, once to the head, and followed up by 2 shotgun shots.
There we go.
2 more, and then he runs away, and this stage is over. Very nice. Right here, Ignis will also run as close to the wall as possible to dodge all of Crosser's attacks. And in just a moment, she will also shoot a rocket to avoid a quick-time event. The fact that he's just face-tanking it is also ridiculous.
Right?
And right now, the second stage for the Crosser boss fight will be held. And there's a very nice answer to that. It's the rocket launcher. He's dead. And also at this stage, you can also get the fighting knife from him. And that's also the whole chapter.
And now starting into the next chapter, chapter 15, almost towards the end. This is the second to last chapter. I'm going to be aiming this rocket down here at the light. This is just to trigger the wall. I don't know if that one quite triggered it. This is to trigger the enemies ahead of time, so that way the helicopter with Mike in it appears a little bit sooner. Looks like they did not get triggered, so we're just gonna wait back for a second. That's okay. Now it sounds like he's coming. Okay. Usually we want to try to trigger it a little bit sooner. I think it ended up hitting that pole on accident there. But Mike is just going to take out all of these enemies. We're going to help him in case there's any behind the building, so that he will be talking to us as quickly as possible. I think that's pretty good.
あ、ヘリだ。
Nope, there was still one alive back there. Unfortunate. That's alright. And now here we just want to take out the enemies again as quickly as possible so that Mike starts moving.
これがかの有名なカプコンヘリ
As soon as Mike
です
starts
かね。
circling around, then we know that we're good to go. Go ahead.
Right, so the helicopter was just sent from Hannigan to pick up Leon and Ashley from the island. And Ignis has to take care of all the enemies as fast as possible so that Mike doesn't get bothered by them, basically. So it's crucial to just kill the enemies as fast as possible again and again. And for that, the rocket launcher is just fantastic.
Oof. Unfortunate.
Oh?
That's alright. Mike is still going to do that. I like to usually try to run ahead so that way we can avoid or just go a little bit faster through this section. That guy is making me nervous with his TNT. Hopefully that doesn't blow up as soon as I get here. Looks like we're alright. And
Okay, sure.
little weird RNG, but it's alright. This we're going to take out for Mike as well. He needs us to take out quickly, and as I Did I get the save? I hope I did. We want to reset that checkpoint after breaking that, so that way Mike moves. It didn't work. A little bit faster. Odd. There we go.
There you go.
So usually
The
it takes
checkpoint
him some
reset is
time. Yeah, it usually just takes him some time if we don't do that, but that just makes it so that instantly he is moving that for us. Now this part is very RNG heavy.
okay, so while Ignis is focusing on staying alive and not get hit by everything that is thrown at her, 2 levers have to be pulled. One lever on the left and one on the right side. And for that, she will throw multiple flashes to stun all of the enemies. As you can imagine, at this section in a new game or even on higher difficulties, it's just a pure nightmare and RNG dependent. So the first lever was taken care of. Now onto the second one. Nice. Okay. Not nice. Do you have a backup for healing?
Nope.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
No backup, but the good thing about assisted, as long as we keep moving, Leon will actually automatically heal. So as long as we don't get hit perfect by that, then Leon will be fine and he will heal back into green. And I'm sure up ahead we can probably pick up a green herb or something along the way. Just unfortunate RNG for that part, but it is going to take him a minute to fully recover.
Thanks.
There we go.
There you go. Also in a very typical Resident Evil fashion, the helicopter guy never survives. This is also the case for Mike.
R.I.P. Mike.
So yep. So right now there has to be a new way to be found for Leon to escape. Okay, so right here there are more generators, and Ignis is taking a precise path so that they are not spawning in.
Yeah, so I'm shooting these boxes so that way they don't spawn. If you run into the bags, basically, the enemies will spawn, but if you clear those boxes out ahead of time, they don't spawn. And actually, before this section, I'm just going to purchase another first aid just to be safe. Usually in a run, I wouldn't stop for this, but for the sake of today, for this section, we'll get back to full.
I mean, it was incredibly unlucky there, so...
Yeah.
Ashley, I'm coming.
Okay, there's another grenade skip, or shotgun skip coming in. Okay, very unlucky again. And while Ignis is focusing, I will just explain it really quick. So she will throw a flashbang up the catwalk to stun enemies and make one jump down in front of Leon. Then she will shoot his feet with a shotgun to make him, very nice, bounce back
Perfect.
into the turret detection. The turret will shoot at the enemy and Leon can just sprint past it without getting hit. Usually it is quite luck dependent, but it went really well, so that's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley is being saved for the 5th or 6th time, I'm not sure. And fortunately enough, Louis' lab is not very far away from here. Right here, Ignis is swapping the FPS from 120 to 30 again, and will pause buffer as much as possible, so that multiple very long animations are being skipped. It worked?
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. So
なんか、
Leon is carrying
なんかしましたね。
Ashley in her full knight armor set, just casually, to Louis' lab, and Leon has multiple hallucinations of the Los Illuminados trying to mind control him, but with the power of SAS, he will just ignore it.
With the power of sass.
It is true though.
Honestly, it's accurate.
That's actually why he makes so many puns throughout the run, right? Because it's
Yes.
builds up his mental fortitude against the last plague.
Exactly.
目をスキップしたとのことです。なるほどね。
And unfortunately, there's no real other way to speed this up. He's just very slow carrying Ashley. There is
アシュ
technically
リー
a
さん、
way
こんな、
for
そ
Leon
ん
to
な格
carry
好してた
Ashley
ら、
somewhat like a briefcase with equipping a
さすが
certain
に
gun. However,
レオン
it's
も
not
フラフラでしょ
really
ね。
reasonable to use it in a run, so it's not a trick that's utilized. And so again there, we're just
Very nice.
skipping Leon, basically falling down to the ground, all of the coughing and stuff, that all is him. He would still be in the animation, basically, if we ended up missing that, unfortunately. But we managed to get through. And this is the lab where finally he manages to remove the parasite from Ashley, and he collapses on the ground. But luckily, Ashley somehow manages to get him up into the chair to save him as well.
So all of
And now they're all healthy.
removing the parasites. This was Luis.
Does it give you also full HP, by the way?
I don't believe so, no, but there is a first aid spray in
Ah.
that room that you can grab.
And also with the removal of the parasites, Leon and Ashley can finally escape the islands. Another
話的に
another
は、
question is just
の
how.
ところで、
And for that, they're
プ
just
ラが
running around the facility
今回の
and are trying
あ
for a way
ウ
out.
イルス的な、そういう
Look at this.
バイ
But
バな
for
ハザー
now,
ド
a
な
lot of enemies have to be
や
run
つ
past,
の原因になったやつ
such as the
を
Devastador or the
除去
flying
した
fox.
The
よう
worst
です。
enemies in the game.
AudioIgnis' favorite enemies of the
元気
game,
ピ
of
ンピン
course.
でよかったですね。
And she will just shoot those poor things, or just shoot them with a rocket launcher.
And this is going to bring us to the final boss fight of the game. Do you want to go into detail on that?
Yes, of course. So first of all, Ada is helping Leon, but Leon has a sideways 8 amount of rocket launcher shots, so he will just shoot him twice. And Sadler is not tank enough to tank them, so he just dies. And with that, also the self-destruction mechanism for the whole island is activated. And as you see, Leon and Ashley have a little bit over 2.5 minutes time to find an escape. Ada was trying to help Leon by getting him into a helicopter, but Leon said no because he wanted to escape with Ashley together and not alone. She said, fine, okay, cool, do whatever you do, and just left. While Leon is just running to a jet ski, which he will use to drive off. And also in the background, there are some enemies here and there. It sort of represents how they are breaking free from the mind controlling effect of the parasite by just dying, I guess.
Pretty much.
And this is the jet ski.
あ、なんか、ぼーっと
As epic as in
見
the
てたら、
remake
ラ
or
スボス
as
戦
in
が
the
終わって
classic.
たのか。ああ。いや、ロケランってすごいっすね。
Right, and also about Ada.
やっぱ、
So she
ロ
has
ケランですよ。
taken a sample,
アンブレラ社
but
も、
but she escapes
生
in the
物兵器を作
helicopter
るよ
with
り
a
まず
weaker or fake
ロ
sample
ケ
of
ランを
the
売り出す
parasite
べきだったん
for
です。
Wesker's
ね。
Ouroboros project, and she forces the pilot to fly somewhere else. In the cutscene that was skipped, and Leon doesn't leave Ashley behind, like I said, and escapes with the jet ski. And right here, Ignis just has to take precise lines to avoid getting hit, because getting hit is slow, and slow is bad for speedruns.
Mhm.
So she will hold Shift W and sometimes A and D to just dodge the debris that is falling. Also very cinematic shot. It is possible to do some tricks with the jet ski. One is mandatory. This one, the 360, awesome, epic. And the timer will end as soon as Ignis is leaving this cave, by the way.
Yep.
So, time.
Great run.
Awesome run. GG.
GG.
Just impeccable.
Not too bad at
お
all.
Just
じじ
impeccable.
グッドゲームです。
Yeah, but that is.
Any final words from the two of you?
I would just like to say a thank you to everybody who watched the run. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you to everybody who came out. Thank you to everybody who donated as well. And thank you, Alex, for commentating for me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me as well. It was awesome. Thanks. And also thanks for the organizers for the whole event
Yes.
and for having us. Yes, thank you.